Sydney, Australia. Long Beach, California. That's what it is. My hometown. H-Town, Phoenix, Arizona. Southside Compton. Preach. Atlanta. Tampa, Florida. Egypt. My man repping from Egypt. What's going on, D Gray? 973. All right, y'all. Let's get it, y'all. Let's go on and get it. There's going to be a small pause, and we're going to go ahead and get this show started, man. Anthony Joshua, he says it's Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury next. Let's talk about it. With Dante's Boxer Nation. And let me tell you something right now. If you guys are looking for the best fragrance products in the world, you need to go to ashkicking.com. That is ashkicking.com. Keep your home smelling fresh and clean with Ash Kicking fragrance products. Treat your skin and hair with Ash Kicking all-natural health and beauty products. Everything you need to create a comfortable home living environment and create a comfortable space for entertaining. The best incense burners in the world, home fragrance products, and health and beauty products. Go to ashkicking.com.
Brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey, yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, y'all? Another one, man. Welcome to the show. DBN Radio is going down, man. It's going down. We got a whole lot to talk about. We're going to open up them phone lines. We had a great show yesterday, and we're going to go ahead and continue where we left off. So first things first, man, let me go ahead and introduce the panel as we always do at this time. I got my man. He has a YouTube channel. He's spitting that fire. My man, Blue Blood Sports TV. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. What's going on, Blue?
Hey, what's going on, man? What's goody with you?
All right, man. All right. Oh, man. I feel bad the way we was doing them yesterday, Blue. You know, man, we wasn't taking no prisoners, boy. I mean, man, it was just no mercy, man. You know, I was like, man, you sure we need to kill this many people, Blue? God,
gotta put them out there misery, man.
Yeah, oh,
it's
man.
The Walking Dead, man.
The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is exactly what it was. You know, and we got my man, this man right here. He's a former fighter. His son is one of the best prospects in the world right now, undefeated prospect Money Pal the fourth. We got my man Money Pal the third on the horn. What's going on, Money?
Dante, what's happening, man? Blue, what's going on, bro? What's happening?
What's going on, Money? How you feeling, man?
Hey, smooth, brother. It's all good.
Sir.
Can't complain. Can't wait to talk this. Trust me.
Man.
Absolutely.
Man, oh, man. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, man. So let's get right into it, man. Let's dive right into it. And let me go ahead and check this. Let me check this comment section real quick. Okay, I want to shout out my lieutenants in the Army right now, in the DBN Army, my moderators, my man Kaz, and my man Angel Santos. And we're going to have, I don't know if JMC Dog is in there or CMJ Dog is in there. But, you know, my lieutenants, let me go ahead and shout them out. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, man, we had a lot to talk about yesterday. Money, let's start with you since, you know, we didn't get your thoughts on this whole fight. Before we even get into talking about what Anthony Joshua says he wants next, or not even what he wants, but what the reporter, you know, was trying to get him to say, which we're going to talk a lot about that, the guy who was interviewing him. Credit to him. And once again, man, credit to Showtime. They did a great job, you know, putting that fight together, opening up the broadcast with a piece on Deontay Wilder. So just like Wilder said, Money, it was win-win for him because everybody was talking about Wilder leading up to the fight. They was talking about, you know, Wilder not showing up. Is Wilder fighting Dylan White? You know, should he show up? And, So we're going to get into all of that. But your thoughts on the fight, Money, and then we'll take it from there.
Thoughts on the fight, major letdown from the opening ceremonies of the fight itself. I think if Parker would have taken chances around about the 9th round or so to really turn it up, actually, I think he could have won that fight based on how it was going. He was nullifying him, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But he didn't do that. He didn't do that, and anyone that knows if you go over there, you're not going to get a decision.
Man, yeah.
That's just how it works. It's understood, so it's just one of those things, though. But something, he had shown a lot of things, though, be it Joseph Parker. And even in his defeat, he had shown if you utilize certain tools against Anthony Joshua, you can really nullify this guy. Yeah,
no doubt about that. No doubt about that. I mean, we seen somewhat of a passive, reluctant type of Joshua. And what's funny is Takam, he had a different approach than Joseph Parker did. But yet at the same time, both of them were effective with their styles against Anthony Joshua. I thought because Parker would move away and not come forward and not try to walk down Anthony, that he would be in more trouble than he was. But it was, like you just said, it was a competitive fight. It wasn't what people expected. People expected Anthony to go in there and, make a statement, especially after watching what Wilder did to King Kong Ortiz, right? So, that's pretty much.
The crowd was completely silent. The crowd tells you everything. You cannot argue against that crowd. The crowd is going to let you know exactly what they think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of that, not only the crowd and the other boxers in the crowd, which we're going to talk about what everybody had to say about the fight. But Money, I want to stick on you real quick. I want to ask you as well. Now, going back, and I have to say this to everybody that's watching right now, I want to correct what I said, retract what I said yesterday, because a couple times I mixed up the word unified with undisputed. Just in case you guys missed the post-fight interview, Anthony Joshua, he was really, really pressed by the reporter. We got to get this guy's name. But this UK reporter who interviewed him after the fight, he really, really applied a lot of pressure. And I think it kind of caught Anthony off guard. I think Anthony was saying to himself, like, damn, man, whose side are you on? You know what I mean? Why you keep bringing up this damn DW name, man? Whose side you on, man? This damn Deontay Wilder talk. Because he kept asking the question. But I want to retract, like I said, once again, and correct what I said yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what happened if you missed it one more time. And I'm going to sum it up real quick. Anthony Joshua, he gets interviewed. He says, I am the unified heavyweight champion of the world. That's when the reporter takes advantage of him saying that. And he says, well, you know what? Since you just said that, I might as well ask you the next question. Do you want to be the undisputed champion? And that's when Anthony Joshua said 100. He said 100. And and the reporter didn't stop there. He said, no, you do understand. If you want to be undisputed, you have to fight the WBC champion, Deontay Wilder. And this was so funny to me because Anthony said, well, you asked me if I wanted to be undisputed. I'm saying 100 on that. Like he was trying to distinguish. I'm not saying, 100 I want to fight Wilder right now. I'm saying 100, one day I want to be the undisputed champion, which is something we got to pay attention to these little things. You got to look at things between the lines, man. So then, once again, the reporter, he didn't stop there. He asked him again. Okay, Anthony Joshua replied by saying, look at these belts I got. You see, I got the IBF. I got the WBO. I got this belt. We could talk to my trainer. We could talk to Al Heyman. Let's talk to Eddie Hearn, man. I'm ready and whatever. And the reporter still said, because the reporter wanted a clear answer. So he said for a third time, so that means you're going to fight Deontay Wilder? And that's when Anthony Joshua, he kind of sighed. He kind of rolled his eyes like, man, how many times you going to ask me about this damn Deontay Wilder? And that's when Deontay Wilder, Later on, he says, oh, that's when he said, just like Dillian White said, he said, let's go. And then later on, as they were interviewing Joseph Parker, because I had missed this part. Later on, the reporter, I guess, asked him again, and you guys correct me, Blue on Money, if I get this part wrong, but this is when the reporter, he asked him again, and then Anthony Joshua, he said, I want either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. And he said, I'm going to spark him. I'm going to spark him and knock him out. That's pretty much how it went down, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, he said, first he said, I want Wilder. Then he hesitated just momentarily. Then he said Fury under his breath. I said,
Under
had to
breath.
throw that out there, huh? I'm like, okay, all right, we got you now. Got you on record saying that.
Yeah. I mean,
he just can't. He couldn't commit to just saying Deontay Wilder.
Because that was never the plan. That was never in the plans for him to fight Wilder next. And once again, we already knew going into this fight, that's why he didn't want him in the ring. Because if Deontay Wilder's in the ring, then that's going to be more pressure, obviously, for him to take that fight next. You know what I mean? So he understood that. Yeah. And that's exactly why, he didn't want him in the ring. And we had Sky Sports, they reported that Anthony Joshua didn't want him in the ring. So that's pretty much what it is in that situation right there. But Blue, the biggest question is, what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think he's really going to try to fight a man who's been out the ring forever? He ain't had his first warm-up, tune-up fight, as Keith Thurman would call it. You know what I mean? If this was Andre Ward, they'd be talking about how, he's so inactive and it don't mean nothing, and they taking away credit just because the boy has been off. But when it comes to Tyson Fury, why? Okay, another rhetorical question, Blue. Why is he calling out Tyson Fury compared to a Deontay Wilder? Rhetorical question, but go ahead. Knock it out the park,
because
Blue.
Because he feel like that Tyson Fury's coming off the bench. He feel like he have an advantage. Something similar to the Klitschko fight. Klitschko was coming off an 18-month layoff and coming off of one of his worst performances ever. And I think that they see a weakness in Tyson Fury. He's coming off the bench. He's coming off of, having his own personal demons outside of the ring. And they think it's right for the pickings. Deontay Wilder got momentum. They don't want that momentum right now. They rather just keep building up their name over in the UK, and how Floyd Mayweather say it, robbing the bank. Tricking the people.
And Money, what's so crazy, to add on to what Blue just said, if you notice, your boy Deontay Wilder is doing the complete opposite, because he took on Luis King Kong Ortiz when he didn't have to take him on. He didn't have to take him on. And now you got, if your boy Anthony goes with Tyson Fury, he's doing the complete opposite. He's saying, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and make this money just in case we lose, to Wilder. We made all of our money. You know what I mean? But see, Wilder wasn't thinking that, because Wilder could have easily lost to Luis King Kong Ortiz, and that would have, stopped the whole mega fight with these two undefeated heavyweight champions. But Wilder still took the risk to get in there with him, So Money, if you could put money on this, do you think he's going to fight Tyson Fury next, or do you think he'll fight Wilder next, or anyone else?
Why not? Let us bring up the name Povetkin.
Povetkin. Oh yeah, he had a win
Povetkin,
this weekend.
He had an outstanding win. Povetkin, actually, I think he may have a call to his belt, one of his belts, okay? And knowing that he does, he's a mandatory. So, hey, but before I fight him, let me get him to fight Dillian White.
To fight Dillian.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Povetkin was the next guy to step in there, because, I think Anthony can take advantage of certain things about Povetkin, but the guy is dangerous in how he punches, though.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm thinking Povetkin is the next move. It's either Povetkin. I don't think Tyson Fury. I think that's a major league risk for him. and he'll find some wiggle room. I think his best chance right now is Povetkin. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I think Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, they're going to try to push for the Tyson Fury fight, but I don't think Tyson Fury is going to take the bait. I think he's too smart for that. I think he's going to follow through with his plans. He said that he just came out on Friday or Saturday, and he said that he wants to fight in June, have a tune-up in June, and then face Shannon Briggs in September. So I think he'll stay true to his plans, get himself. Even though yesterday he came out and he said that he could come right off the bench and beat Anthony Joshua, but I think he'll stay true to his plans, and it's not a smart move. It's just not a smart move for Tyson Fury. It's a smart move for Joshua and Hearn to catch him, coming off the bench. Which that's a plan that could backfire on them too, because as we saw yesterday, he struggled with the jab. He was confused. And this was a little guy, although Parker was athletic, but Tyson Fury has a hell of a jab, man. And Tyson Fury, that might spoil their plans, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He could be the cherry pick gone wrong. He could be.
Exactly.
Yes. Cherry pick going wrong. I mean, especially if he if he's, me personally, if he's not going to fight against Deontay Wilder next, I would like to see Big Baby Miller. I think, if we don't get the fight that we need to get next, I think Big Baby Miller would be a good fight. And quite frankly, guys, I think that's a 50-50 fight. I mean, because I'm looking at the pressure that Takam put on Anthony Joshua, and that referee.
Oh yeah,
right. He did he did a service for the UK. Let's just put it that way. He did a service for the UK.
One thing with the Gerald Miller fight, though, I see is when Gerald Miller just fought Walk. Even though I think that it might have been a snoozer for him, I think he just didn't get up for the fight. But that dude Walk, man, if he had any type of power, he might have put Gerald Miller out, man. Those punches that Gerald Miller was, those clean uppercuts and hooks he was taking in that fight.
Yes.
Even though I think that he might have just didn't have any respect for Walk, but those punches that he was taking, he can't take those sneaky uppercuts from Anthony Joshua, man.
Yeah.
Joshua has devastating uppercuts. They are bad news. It's almost like a surgeon, a dentist removing teeth.
Well,
man.
One thing I will say is, at least Anthony, he did admit to me when I interviewed him when he came out here to Vegas, and he did admit to me, the best heavyweight next to myself, because of course I had to, ask the question that way, not including you, of course, Anthony. Who would you say is the best heavyweight? And and he said it was Deontay Wilder. He said, yeah, you would have to give it to Deontay Wilder. So this is why I tell people, that camera, that microphone is the most dangerous weapon in the world. You know what I mean? It could either work for you or it'll work against you. You know what I mean? And you got to be careful when you admit things like that, because now it really makes no sense. If you believe that he's the best and you're fighting other guys that you don't believe is as good as him, that's an admission. You know what I mean? That's an admission. So I've been saying it for the longest. It looks better if you just come straight out and say, look, man, this guy is going to be my toughest fight. He's extremely dangerous. You never know what he's going to do with that goddamn right hand. I give him credit. He may not be the most skilled, but his will and that right hand makes up for it. So we're going to take our time before we take that fight. Some people going to call you names, but people are going to respect you more because they're going to like, well, man, the guy admitted it. He said he ain't ready yet. You know what I mean? But the thing with them is we hear something different all the time. And, they're not on the same accord, as Deontay Wilder said on my show the other day. One point that Wilder made, which was a good point, is he said, if you listen to my whole team, we are in sync. We pretty much, we all saying the same thing. We're consistent with what we've been wanting, which is Anthony Joshua. We've never contradicted ourselves. It's pretty much what he said on my show. And once again, because he brought up how Eddie Hearn will be saying something different than what Anthony Joshua will be saying, which we pointed that out tons of times on the show. Yeah.
They just did it yesterday. He said Anthony Joshua just came out and said, we don't have to go over to the States. I'm not going over to the States and fighting. And then 2 seconds later, a reporter asked Eddie Hearn the same thing. And he said, I don't know about that. He said, we'll go anywhere to fight. Yeah, we'll definitely go to Brooklyn. So which one is it?
Yeah, you're right. And that was an excellent point, Blue.
This is so true.
And once again, that damn camera and microphone getting people in trouble. Once again, man. Hey, you know what?
And by Eddie Hearn saying that, just confirms the Gerald Miller rumors that we already knew about. You know, him saying, we'll go anywhere. We'll go to Brooklyn. Because the reporter asked Anthony Joshua, what about going to Vegas? He didn't say, what about going to Brooklyn? He said, what about going to Vegas? Eddie Hearn turned around and said, we'll go to Brooklyn. So then they don't even have the correct state in the States. They're in two different places.
They need one spokesperson in that group.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One is on the West Coast,
Just
the other one's on the East Coast.
Oh, yes.
And you know, and we
Not good.
And Money, since you just said that, we've heard so many, you know, fans say in reaction to interviews I've done with people like, you know, from anywhere from Abel Sanchez to from Oscar De La Hoya, you know, and they say stuff and they kind of, fall into a trap with contradicting themselves. And you'll hear a lot of fans say, man, that guy, he needs a better representative, because he keep talking.
Yes.
He's just digging a hole deeper for himself, and we see so many people do this. People, I'm about to open up the phone lines in a minute, but people have to realize there's a difference. See, this is what happens a lot of times. Like I tell people all the time, the decafs and the old media and all that kind of stuff, they are contagious. So what happens is you keep listening to this, and if you a weak-minded person, you could easily become infected from that zombie nonsense, right? And when you become infected, it's okay for you to be an anonymous person on the internet saying ridiculous stuff, that you ain't gonna be held accountable for because you remain anonymous, right? But when you have a name and a face attached to that nonsense, guess what?
Hard to escape.
There's a track record.
Cannot escape.
Yeah, there's a track record. We can go back and listen to what you said 2 months ago, yesterday, whenever it was. That's the difference. And decafs have gotten a lot of boxers in trouble because they see all these comments on, these social sites, and then they start saying, yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat exactly what they saying right here, and that get them in trouble.
Just like we asked dude yesterday, where he get that Floyd Mayweather was ducking these fighters. He said he got it from Floyd.
And he paused for a minute, Blue, and he paused for a minute because you caught him off guard with that one. You caught him off guard with that one because he was like, whoa. He said, let me not tell them that I got it from Jim Lampley because then they're gonna really go in on me. Let me not tell them that I got that, I got that from the dude on in the comment section that said, I hate Floyd Mayweather's damn guts. He ain't gonna admit that, so he had to say something. But man, that dude was just running into all kind of walls and trees, man. I mean, I was watching that over earlier, man. I was listening to the show while I was at the gym today, man, and I was just tripping out, man. Once again, the dude. He said, what he say, Blue? He said, first he made the excuse when he said Floyd Mayweather, something like he ain't really fought nobody, whatever. He said Corrales was washed up, right? And then we said, and that should have been in the conversation right there, And then later on, when we made him look, ridiculous on that comment, then he tried to switch gears and he said, oh, well, let's not talk about Pretty. Let's not talk about Pretty Boy. Let's talk about Money Mayweather. We bring up Canelo. Yeah, we bring up Canelo, right?
Constant deflection.
Yeah. And you know what? Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and answer these calls, man. I'll go ahead and put that link in the description box. I want you guys to check out that show if you missed it. It was lit. You guys can listen to that
and
whole.
Don't forget what he said. Don't forget when you mentioned the plaster and the gloves. And then he said, "Well, what about Floyd taking the IV?"
Yeah, yeah. And then he said he was saying so much stuff we probably didn't even catch it all. He said, "Oh, when Floyd fought Canelo fought closer to 147 than 154. He didn't even know that Canelo fought at 152. You know what I mean? It was all. But seriously, guys, go back and watch the show yesterday. I'll put the link in the description if you haven't watched it. It was comedy night, man. I mean, get your popcorn. Yes. Get your popcorn before you watch it because it's entertainment, boy. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. All right, man.
Good old Jorge.
Yeah. No, this wasn't Jorge. This was Drew. This was Drew.
No, I was saying similar. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Good old. Synonymous. The names are synonymous, man. Okay. Yeah, man. Hey, let's take a call, guys. And remind me to talk about what Carl Froch said, too. But we got 337. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
What's up, Dante? This is Dalton Judge from Lafayette, Louisiana, man. How y'all doing?
All right, Louisiana in the building.
What's happening, man? What's going on?
What's on your mind, man?
What's going on, man?
Oh, that ain't much, man. I got a couple of things I want to say. First and foremost, I want to ask y'all this, because I was watching the fight, and then I watched the fight over again, and in my personal opinion, it's like they put that referee in there because Parker only had one way of really, really bothering Joshua. Because he couldn't fight him outside. He's too small. Mm-hmm. But inside, he could fight him. And that referee kept breaking him up inside every time Parker would try to go to work. Mm-hmm, so I'm thinking, man, that dude was placed in there to do that on purpose.
But
like, I don't think that's a coincidence.
But once again, man.
Well, you have a good point.
You
have a good point. They even said in the beginning, they said this guy lacked experience at this level. That told me right then. I said, "Oh my goodness, that might not work well."
The dude only ref 4 championship fights. How you in a fight of that magnitude?
That's right.
And only ref 4 championship fights?
There you go,
man. I think he was purposely put in that ring.
Well, I mean, I think, a lot of times when the fight is out there in the UK, there's going to be a referee purposely put in that ring for that fighter's best interest. Unfortunately, once again, the referee in the Takam fight. Look at that job that he did. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
exactly.
That says it all right there. When the guy was building momentum, that's when they stopped the fight. So, yeah, man. That's what
my second point.
Go ahead.
But that ref almost
is,
go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. Your second point. Go ahead.
Yeah, my second point I want to make is it just me? Because I saw it in the Takam fight. I actually first witnessed it in the Klitschko fight. Joshua never made adjustments. If Klitschko would have put his foot on the pedal, he'd have got Joshua out of there easy.
Oh yeah,
Klitschko's always been a scary. He's always been a scary fighter. He's never one to go out there. If he can't get that knockout from range with that right hand, he's never gonna go and try to get that knockout. He'll just point you to death, just like he did Baba Jennings.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
In the Takam fight and in this fight, Joshua never made an adjustment. And the simplest adjustment that Joshua could have made is every time he threw that uppercut, Joseph Parker blocked it with his elbow. He turned his head and put his elbow, right? All that took was a left hook. Uppercut, left hook. Bam, you got him. And I'm screaming at the television like, left hook, boom, left hook, and he never did it. Take the uppercut or throw the uppercut and come with the left hook, he's done. That's it. Mm-hmm. Never did it. He never made that adjustment. I don't understand how somebody could be so fundamentally sound and technically gifted, because I do still think that Joshua's a gifted fighter. But he never even seen that. Like, that was the clearest thing as day to me.
He's definitely gifted. And
now he was trying left hooks often throughout the fight. But on the inside, like you're saying, not that. There you go. Not in that manner.
Not in that manner. I mean, not
in that method. If he would have done that.
Coincidentally, I have a clip.
If he would have done that, Joseph was turning his face from him, so he was completely blinded from what Joshua would have been coming with. Mm-hmm. That left hook would have landed flush on him, like bam. I know one thing: Wilder would have did it.
Wilder would have.
And not to mention, another thing he lacked, and I noticed in that fight, was when Joseph Parker was falling in with his head down, all he had to do was take a half step backwards and counter him. Mm-hmm. He was totally getting completely out the way, man. Mm-hmm. All he had to do was take a half step backwards and counter him.
And something else.
That was the next thing I was going to say.
And something else I want to say when
he looked very slow.
Something else I want to say when we draw on the contrast between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. I think, of course, the perception going into this fight, or at least especially a couple years ago, was Anthony Joshua is way more skilled than Deontay Wilder, et cetera, et cetera. But now when you look at things, and it's not so much of a skill comparison, but it's the will and the heart and the confidence comparison. Because like I said yesterday, we talked about this. You know, what separates a lot of the great fighters is they step their game up when they step up in competition. You have some fighters that regress when they step up in competition. You know, they don't look the same. Golovkin didn't look like big drama show, you know, foaming at the mouth when he was in there with Danny Jacobs, when he was in there with Canelo Alvarez. He didn't look like the guy that was knocking out Adama and Wade, right? And you know, when that's the difference from great fighters like a Floyd Mayweather, like an Andre Ward, and then even Deontay Wilder by way of contrast when it comes to Joshua. You could say whatever you want to say about Wilder not doing everything right, but he fights with the same level of confidence when he's in there with a Luis King Kong Ortiz. We didn't see him fighting like some dude we had never seen before. If that was your first time watching Anthony Joshua, what would you have said after that performance? You know what I mean?
Good point.
You would have said,
Horrible.
Yeah, you would have said, you know, this is the guy they saying is an animal and this and that. You know what I mean? Once again, Errol Spence when he fought against Kell Brook. The same Errol Spence we seen against Algieri and lesser opposition was the same Errol Spence we seen against Kell Brook and Lamont Peterson. You know what I mean? So Anthony Joshua, we didn't see the same Anthony Joshua. We didn't, you know. Now, granted, I was saying the Takam fight, he kind of looked the same in the first couple rounds, but then in that fight, to me, he more kind of slowed down in the second half of that fight. But in this fight, you know, it looked kind of like Golovkin versus Lemieux in a certain sense. You know, he wasn't as accurate, and of course he didn't get the knockout that Golovkin got at the end of the fight. But my point is, Golovkin did not look like big drama show. He didn't look like it wasn't Mexican style when he was in there with another power puncher like Lemieux. You know, so that's what it is.
And I could even say that when we watch Errol Spence versus Peterson and Brook, he actually looked even better. He looked even more aggressive. When we watch Floyd Mayweather walk down Canelo Alvarez.
Absolutely.
We watch Deontay Wilder come firing out the jab right from the jump with somebody like Ortiz who's dangerous. It just goes to show that.
And we're gonna take another call.
Joshua looked hella slow, man. He looked hella slow.
He was doing too much thinking in there.
And honestly, I don't think Luis Ortiz. I don't think none of those dudes could beat Luis Ortiz. I don't think Joshua or Parker could beat Ortiz.
Man, that's a great point right there. That's a great point because Ortiz.
I don't think so.
I would have to lean if Ortiz is the same. If Ortiz is the same fighter. But see, one thing I'm starting to question with Ortiz because skill-wise, I see him beating Anthony Joshua, but I just question his will because the way Ortiz, you know, dropped in the Wilder fight, he wasn't as hurt as Wilder was when he was out on his feet, right? And he decided to stay on the canvas. You know, so I pay attention to stuff like that. So it just makes me wonder.
I think what happened. I think what happened with Ortiz is he had Wilder. He did everything in his power to get Wilder out of there, and that right hand was still coming. And Ortiz was like, "Shit, I ain't about to let him hit me with this no more."
That's my point.
I don't blame him.
That's my point.
I think he kind of shot his load.
That's my exact point.
It's funny because I'm watching that fight as we speak.
See, well, that's my exact point. What you just said right there confirms what I was just talking about. You know, it was not so much of him being too hurt. It was him thinking about the situation and saying, "I can't beat this dude. He gonna knock me down again. I'm gonna really end up getting hurt." I'm just saying he may go in there with an Anthony Joshua fight and, you know, be winning and get caught with something, you know, and start second guessing himself. Hey, but thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it, man. Hey, no doubt, man.
But one last thing, Dante. One last thing.
Go ahead.
Once again, I just gotta say this to Mr. Money Power. Mr. Money, I told you this the last time I called. I'm going to tell you again, man. I appreciate what you're doing with your son, man. Awesome young man, bro. I look forward to seeing him become champion.
Hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to let him know that as well. I really appreciate that, sir. You take care and have a good one. And thanks for supporting.
All day.
Yes,
all
sir.
day.
Y'all have a good one.
Hey, take care.
Yes, sir. All right.
Take care, man. Take care.
That's awesome.
Hey, yeah, before we get into the next topic or continue to talk about this, let me go ahead and introduce some of the lieutenants in that DBN tank that we pushing over here. Shout out to my man in that super chat section, Gregory Wyatt. He said Troll Hunter reporting for duty. My man Ray Sean Smith and my man, what's that? DOG 215. What's going on, man? I appreciate the donations, you guys. And I don't know what this dude is talking about right here. Okay, I don't know. Tape gate loose. Okay. He's saying loose tape. Okay, that's what you're trying to say. He got that's what you're talking about. Talk about tape, because he said tape gate, loose tape. Okay, yeah, 2 fights. Is he talking about the loose tape that was on Anthony Joshua's gloves? I'm not really sure. You know.
Oh yeah. I gather that's what he's hitting at.
Yeah. That's what I think he's talking about. I mean, it was a. But once again, the most important thing is we seen how Anthony Joshua looked in that fight compared to how Wilder looked in his last fight. And once again, they doing what they think is a smart thing. They looking at this from a financial standpoint. Anthony Joshua is. Let's try to make as much money as we can because, hey, we may not beat this guy. And, we don't want to mess our money up. We don't want to get demoted. You know what I mean? So let's make as much money as we can, get this severance pay because in a certain sense, that's kind of how they looking at Wilder. Just in case things go wrong, that's severance pay right there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, y'all gonna let me go. Y'all gonna pay me, damn it. So that's how it's that's how he putting it out there. That's how he putting it out there. Hey, let's take another call. Once again, I appreciate everybody on hold, and then we'll talk about what Carl Froch and what other people had to say about your boy Anthony Joshua's performance. We got 410. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
What's good, man? It's your boy Ray Sean out of B-More.
Ray Sean, one of the lieutenants, man. What's going on, family?
Hey, man, nothing much, man. First off, man, shout out to all the fellas, all the boxing minds that's in the room right now. Chat line,
All
the
day.
millions and millions that's going to be streaming this around the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Shout out to them. But listen, first things first, man, with AJ, man, I just think, he's a little flustered, dog. You know what I mean? Think about this. You got the chat lines coming at you. You got your own fans coming at you and calling you out. You know what I mean? Wondering how you going to box back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You got his own media. His own media. Yeah.
Absolutely. You got Deontay going on the Breakfast Club on the NFL Network. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. I know the UK powerful, man, but listen, at the same time, it's the U.S., and I'm not trying to be an ugly American, anything like that, but listen, it's the U.S. You feel me? Like, you're going to hear what's going on or what's being said, regardless of what you said at your post-fight, man. You know what I mean? Like, the United States ring bells when it comes to this boxing game. And, you know what I mean? I know boxing started in Britain, but, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? He hears what's going on. He hears the rumbling. So if I was him, you know what I mean? 'Cause I got another point I want to get to. But if I was him, you do an old school Don King style, set up a doubleheader, have him and Deontay Wilder fight on the same card. You know what I'm saying? Like either Deontay fight like a Brazil or a Povetkin, even though that's a big risk. But I think he really want to beat Povetkin's ass. For testing dirty, to be real with you. And, you know what I mean? Put Big Baby Miller and AJ on the other card. I think that can really do something, but, you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. But one more thing. I want to chime in on this because I want to get y'all an expert opinion as I get off the head. Years ago, Marvin Hagler had to sue. I almost had to threaten to get Ted Kennedy involved because fighters were stuffing him back in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. I mean, before he got his shot with Vito at the Fermo. And I see the same thing happening with Earl Spence right now, man. It's like these guys, you know what I mean? Like, these guys from Sean Porter, shout out to his dad, man. You know what I'm saying? His dad keep it cool, but I just think they kind of ducking him, man. It's a real bitch move what's going on right now. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's a real bitch move going on right now in the welterweight division, man. I think the only one that wants that smoke is Terence Crawford, but he got Australia he got to deal with, and he got to build his name up. And after that, you know what I'm saying? We gonna go at it. We're gonna go at it. But listen, as I get off the phone, shout out to all the brothers in the room. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we black folk, man. You know, black folk eat good on Easter, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of full right now, man.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. But Easter is like Thanksgiving for us. Yeah, I already know. Yeah.
Definitely. Listen, one more thing, though, man. Listen, because Beckham is a real threat. You know what I'm saying? Though he's a real threat.
Yes, he is.
He's almost 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a real threat, and I think he's gonna have something to say about this Deontay Wilder AJ thing. And I just want to get your opinion on the Errol Spence analogy that broke down with a marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Hey, great.
That's all I gotta say, please.
Great stuff. Thanks for calling in, man. And let me touch on that real quick. You know, Money and Blue, well, I'll start with you, Money. It is really unfortunate because boxing is the only sport where we are not guaranteed a Super Bowl, you know, or a gold medal match every single season, you know what I mean, or every single year. It's the only sport like that. And it's unfortunate. You know, the sport, but it's too many managers, too many belts, too many sanctioning fees, and all of this stuff, promoters, networks, you know, and those are roadblocks that, you know, prevent, you know, us getting the best fights a lot of times. But once again, all it really takes at the end of the day is two fighters that have the confidence that, you know, they can beat anyone, you know, because Errol Spence is ready to fight everyone. But it is unfortunate because, you know, we don't really know what's going to happen with Errol Spence. I mean, you know, this dude, he had to basically corner the house of Kell Brook, you know, to get him to come out with his hands up. You know what I'm saying? So, and he finally got that fight. And now, since he done got that fight really made people say, oh, man, I don't want to be the next person. I don't want to be the next Kell Brook. You know what I mean? This dude is serious. So let me just go ahead and fight everybody else and leave him alone. But it's unfortunate because, once again, we don't get the Super Bowl in the welterweight division. You know, so yeah. I'm hoping that Errol don't have to sell out to move out, you know, to move up, you know, to a higher weight class just because no one will fight him at 147. It won't be right. It's unfair to Errol Spence, and it's unfair, you know, to the sport. You know, so and that go and
I first
go ahead.
Doctor.
Who is that? Blue?
Yeah, that's me, Blue.
Go ahead.
I personally think though that I think that it'll work out for Errol in the welterweight division because of Terrence Crawford. Because I actually think that Terrence Crawford versus Spence is going to be a bigger fight than Spence would be with Thurman. You know, I think that eventually he'll get the Danny Garcia or Sean Porter. I don't know if he'll get Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and Thurman, but eventually we'll get, because we know the type of fighters that Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford are. Their egos is going to make them have to get in that ring, and Terrence Crawford is not going to let promotions and networks stand in the way of getting that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll eventually get the Super Bowl. It's going to be the bigger event with Terrence Crawford versus Spence than Spence versus Thurman. It's just the fact that the names are ducking him. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to get the Super Bowl with Spence and Terrence Crawford, which is, to me, in my opinion, is a bigger fight than Spence and Thurman.
Yeah, the only problem with that, Blue, is we get the Super Bowl without the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl. That's the only problem because everybody else, they basically declined to participate in the playoffs because they knew that they would have to end up facing either one of them. But let's just say Errol Spence right now because we still have to see Terrence Crawford perform at welterweight against Jeff Horn, which I assume and presume is going to be the same outcome. But that should be a good fight, though, because Jeff Horn is aggressive. He on this Rocky Balboa. Hopefully he fights with the same type of confidence he fought Pacquiao with. But, a lot of times people get in the ring with Terrence Crawford and they start getting on their toes. We start seeing them fight a lot of times they be in there like they're in there with Mike Tyson. I mean, because Ray Beltran is a tough guy, but man, he was in there like he was.
He sure is.
He was fighting him like he was in there with Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, they got
not just Ray Beltran, also what's his name? What was that? Felix Diaz.
Yeah, Felix Diaz. Yeah, Felix Diaz is another one. He's another one. They know. They recognize skill at the end of the day. So I'm gonna take another call, but before I do, let's go ahead and talk about what Carl Froch had to say. go ahead and hey Blue, break that down, report that, man. What did Carl Froch say about Anthony Joshua's performance and comparing him to fighting Deontay Wilder?
Well, Carl Froch came out and he said that the performance Anthony Joshua put on did nothing to it wasn't a repellent to keep Deontay Wilder away. Basically, he said that if anything, it just made Deontay Wilder want to take him, want to come at him even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said that. He said
Wilder's not worried about that performance. He's right.
Yeah, not at all. And then on top of it, he said he disagrees with Anthony Joshua saying that fighters have to stay in the UK. He said all UK fighters eventually went over to the States and made their name. He said that there's nothing wrong with going over to the States. And he actually said he and the UK fans want to see him, Joshua, go across the pond and fight.
And that there was a big statement right there. I mean, even the Wilder statement was big, but that's even bigger. Now you even have UK, not even a UK fan, but a UK fighter saying, hey, I went to the States. Why don't you go over there? So that's a big statement right there, Money. So go ahead, Money.
You know something? Yeah, you know something. Out of Lennox Lewis's 44 fights, he fought in the United States 22 times.
It's a great point. That's a great
and for the latter part of his career against more of your upper echelon fighters, he was here in the United States. Of course, he went to back home as well, but he was here a lot. You would have thought that he was from here more than he was from across the water until he spoke. And he didn't know anything about Lennox.
And a small reason why, that has something to do with him fighting out here is because he won a gold medal for a different country too. He won a gold medal, I think, for Canada, but at the same time.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but at the same time, Ricky Hatton, he came over here and filled up arenas. You know what I mean? You got all these fighters. You got, look how big, and I know this is a little outside of boxing, but McGregor Mayweather, you got all the Irish fans that come over, so they're going to travel. And matter of fact, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Eddie Hearn, but I'm not sure. But I think it was Eddie Hearn that may have said, you know what, the fans are going to go over there. They're going to come over to the States. You know what I mean? So we can fight over there because the fans are going to cross the pond, to support. And we know that. We know there's no doubt about it. You could build the biggest arena in America, and they are going to all fly over here to see a Joshua versus Wilder fight.
Right.
So
on the flip side of that, look how it hurt Joe Kawasaki to come over here so late and hurt his star power.
That did. That did. It really did.
Yeah.
He was a great fighter too.
Yeah.
And I mean, even look at Carl Frampton. When Carl Frampton fought in the United States at the top of last year, oh my goodness, man! When those people sounded off, at the weigh-ins, you would have thought that
you had a soccer match.
We would have thought we were in a different country. You would have thought we were in their house.
Yeah, that's how
amazing.
Just look at the Ricky and Floyd Mayweather weigh-in, man.
Yeah,
even after Floyd knocked them out, they still were chanting and praying, and there's only one Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mad support for their own fighter. Mad support.
So that's what. So with Carl Frampton saying that, once again, man, this is what I mean when I say the pressure becomes unbearable eventually. You trying to keep a secret or whatever. Maybe one person knows about the secret, so you okay. You feel like it ain't gonna come out, right? Then that one person tells somebody. The next thing you know, 3,000 people knows about the secret. Now, you can't hide it no more. Now it ain't a secret no more. And Deontay Wilder, he ain't no secret no more, guys. He ain't no secret. Anthony Joshua, he tried all he could do to keep this man from, going in the ring, and basically putting pressure on him to fight him next, but it didn't matter because Showtime, credit to them, once again, they started the telecast with a piece on who? Not Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, right?
Wilder.
Yeah, a full, and it was a great piece on it on Wilder, talking about how he wants this fight. So he didn't even have to show up. And then the reporter is on that man like a debt collector. You know what I'm saying? you gonna pay this Deontay Wilder bill, or we gonna keep calling you, Anthony Joshua. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what it was,
He was
man.
a plant for Wilder, man. I'm telling you, it was plot plan. He was a plant right there in the ring for Wilder.
Yeah, because now
You know what else was funny that Carl Froch said? Carl Froch said that he wished he had that referee when he fought Andre Ward. Maybe
I remember. Yeah.
Oh, he always got to take a jab at Andre Ward.
Yeah.
No matter what he's talking about, he gonna find a way to stick a jab at Deontay, man. No doubt about it, man. Yeah, man. So
unbelievable.
yeah. Hey, let's take another call, man. Let's go ahead and take another call. Where we at? Let me see. Okay, we got 404. What's going on? What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
ATL.
Dawn from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay.
Dawn.
What's going? What'd you say your name is?
The Dawn.
Okay. What's going on, man?
But I want to ask two questions.
What's going on? What's on your mind, man? Go ahead, man.
I just wanted to ask two questions. First, I want to ask about the last night fight. When the referee was interfering, it was like he was giving off. Like he was letting them do whatever they want. And I think they did that on purpose so somebody could win. It was a money hash. And I think the better loss, you know. You know. It was good. It was like it was a good fight for the money. Like, okay, they just lost that money. Like the next fight has to be so big that who's next? Like who's next? Like the Goldberg standard. Like,
You
like
believe,
Deontay Wilder.
You believe their job?
I believe Deontay Wilder. Yeah, like he's going to get the next match with the person he really wants. And I feel sorry for that person right there. Like,
Wilder gonna take it out
his way.
Yeah, Wilder, he about to take it out on somebody in his next fight. But
no doubt.
No doubt about it. Like I said, once again, that would be the perception that, of course, UK refs and the team over there, they gonna do whatever it is. They like, okay, y'all gonna let us ref the fight? Y'all gonna let us, host the fight? Okay. If y'all want to, if y'all trust us like that, we gonna do it then. So we can't really.
Hey, Dante.
Go ahead, money.
No, just real quick, man. What about? Hey, I can just call my own timeout when I want to.
You say it again. You say what?
Hey, here's the tape. Hey, ref timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The referee was making it seem like he didn't know his job, but the fight went on perfect. That he made everybody else do his job. Like.
And
you know what I'm saying? Like, let me get this tape off me, man.
That
was like a cheesy move though, because he had the tape on for so long. I'm like, nah.
I'm gonna tell you though, man. If I ever see
act like he ain't see it, like
that
was the only cheesy part about that. Like,
the crazy part is one point in the fight, the referee tried to fix the tape for Joshua.
Yes, I saw that as well. Good. Yeah, that was a good laugh for me. I'm like. Even the referee, even one of the commentators said, "What the hell is that guy doing?"
He said, "Did he say that, money?" Damn.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that part. Hey, listen, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. If I ever see Anthony Joshua fighting in the UK and he gets staggered, knocked down, wobbled, and he almost out for the count, and the ref jump in and raise his hand and give him the TKO win, I'm done, man. I'm done. You know what I mean? So I'm done. I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. You know what I'm saying? They try to say it's TKO by this man bruising his hands on Anthony Joshua's head. You know what I mean? So he couldn't continue because he was bruising his hands. You hit this man with all them punches, your hands gotta hurt. So we had to stop him, and protect him from himself. You know what I mean? God damn. If they do that, I'm done. I'm done if that happened. I'm done, y'all. Hey, but 404, man, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it, man. All right, man?
I just have one more question, though.
Okay, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
I want to say the state of boxing right now, which is a lot of boxers now. Like, the thrones will have to be set in tournaments. Like, it's too many boxers
Of course.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So the welterweight division, it was made for tournaments. Like, the welterweight, it should have been a king already right now. Like, and we don't even know who that is.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what we need to push for, bro. That's what we need to push for, structured tournaments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should be every single year. There should be at least one tournament in every division every year. It should be mandatory.
You know something? You all make good points. But when you look at it from a business perspective, okay, each one of those belts, there's a certain percentage taken out to pay those sanctioning fees.
Absolutely.
So if you're one person holding all of those belts, you're probably paying around about 15% of your purse, and then a whole bunch of other things as well. So it can become a little costly. So it's, just looking at the man himself, Floyd Mayweather, he never really held more than one or two belts at a time, and that was for a reason.
Yeah.
He never,
Just a thought. I mean, I think what you all are saying is awesome. I do. And especially what Dante said, like every year, there should be almost like a Super Bowl because the pressure is on. The fight for all of it, but when you look at it from a business perspective, it's like, okay, the weight can bear on one person kind of great when it comes to those fees.
Yeah,
So who was the last pound for pound king? Who was the last pound for pound king?
Floyd
Think
Mayweather?
about that.
Or undisputed
Floyd
Floyd Mayweather.
No.
Andre
pound
Ward?
Pound.
Who?
Yes.
Andre Ward.
Andre Ward was the last pound for pound king.
And
he did his through a tournament.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what?
You know what?
That's a good point because I was actually going to touch on what you just said, which I was going to say, when it came to Andre Ward and him fighting against Kovalev, he knew he was going to fight Kovalev for sure. So he signed a 3-fight deal with HBO before he got in the ring with Kovalev. So we knew the fight was going to happen. Like you just said, it was kind of structured like a little bit of a tournament, right? Even though it wasn't exactly, but it was kind of like that. They had to keep winning to fight each other. So if Anthony Joshua knows that he's going to eventually fight Wilder, why don't they sign a contract right now? And even if it's 2 fights from now, you know what I mean? And say, we win our next 2 fights, we build up to this fight. Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't Keith Thurman do something like that with Errol Spence?
Let me tell you how that is thinking now. Like, when it comes to fighting, certain fighters, they don't rush into a fight. Like, somebody's playing it smart, like Deontay Wilder said. He's not running. He just don't want to tell you that, I'm running,
Well,
not running, but he's still trying to get some more experience. Deontay Wilder got so much experience that he can rush for a fight like that. That's suicide.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think it just comes down to more of just like what Dante had pointed out. Hey, we're trying to make as much money as we possibly can because this guy might cause me to have a major league pay cut.
Absolutely.
So I want to maximize my profits as much as I can before I actually, take that chance. Now, if I'm lucky and let's say if Anthony Joshua wins, okay, hey, bigger and better for him. But he knows that is a different reality. That is the reason why both he and Hearn are taking their time towards this. They're not making anything rock solid. That puts them in jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the police is coming. It's like the police is coming, so you put $1 million 20 feet deep in the ground, for a rainy day. And that's what that's what Josh was doing right now. And the police, the DW police, Deontay Wilder police is on their way. So now he's like, let me go ahead and dig this hole and put this money down up in here just in case something happened, and I go in, So that's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to one of my lieutenants in that super chat section donating once again. I appreciate you, family. My man, Lieutenant Ray Sean Smith, one of the lieutenants, he said Wilder Joshua will bring out the stars again like French Montana, Diddy LeBron in Las Vegas. Boxing needs that because it would transcend pop culture. No doubt about it, Ray Sean. No doubt about it. I mean, once again, it was a real good look. Deontay Wilder, him going on his interview tour this week from the Breakfast Club to Dante's Boxing Nation to ESPN and everyone else, he basically got the word out. And once again, this is why the UK, they could not ignore, those Deontay Wilder questions, because, see, it gets to the point to where, when someone becomes a little too guilty, they become too suspicious, they become more of a suspect, a legitimate suspect. What happens to their friends? They try to, keep distance from them. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm not going down with you. You know what I'm saying? So now you got UK media members. They like, look, Joshua, we love you and everything, but if we don't ask them questions, we're going to look biased now because it's too much pressure. It's too much pressure if we don't ask you the question. So we're going to look bad if we don't bring it up. And that's what happened. He brought it up. Hey, thanks for your call, man. I'm going to get to another one. All right, man? You there? All right. Hey,
I got you.
And thank God you wasn't no troll, man, because at first I thought you was calling in, trying to decaf us to death, man. So, but you turned out to be an informative. You turned out to be extremely informative and, knowledgeable, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man. Yeah.
Anytime.
Oh, sorry. My bad, man. I just cut him off when he was shouting us out, man. But thanks, man. Appreciate that, man.
But
no, go ahead, Blue.
Just to piggyback on what you were saying, that's what Eddie Hearn and Joshua was claiming that, or why Deontay Wilder's not on all the shows. Why is he not? Okay, well now see he's close. The walls are closing in on him because look, this week he did every show.
He did every show. Mm-hmm. Every show. I mean, the Breakfast Club interview is like at 800,000 views or something like that. You know what I mean? And that was just one that he did. So
big numbers, man. This guy's going to draw big numbers everywhere he goes.
Listen, he did the Breakfast Club here in New York. He did Good Morning Football.
Yeah,
that's huge on NFL Network, man.
He did a basketball. I think he did a Basketball Network one too, didn't he? Or a basketball show?
Yeah.
I thought I seen something in some interview where it said basketball something. But yeah, man. So once again, the secret is out. The Deontay Wilder secret is out. Like I said, maybe about 6 months ago, a year ago, only one person knew about the secret. The whole boxing world know about the secret now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, good luck on trying to, justify not fighting him next, because I'm telling you, Money, he's going to deal with some backlash. He didn't deal with it going into this fight because the secret wasn't fully out. So, I mean, do you think the backlash is going to really, really, hit him this time, Money? You think it's going to affect him and possibly make him consider taking a fight when that wasn't his plan, Money?
I think it really will. Much like we see in the NFL when that quarterback drops back in the pocket and one of those guys come through the line and they flush him out. This is one of those situations. I mean, it's just my opinion, but a lot of UK fans, the moment, if you go back and just think about it for a moment, when Eddie Hearn started talking, they started booing immediately. Now, when AJ was talking, of course, they were cheering and everything. But the moment Eddie Hearn started talking, they started booing immediately. And I said, unless that's his nickname, that's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Of course.
So they are on to it, just like Paul Froch, just like Tyson Fury, and so many others as well. They are on it. They know what's going on. They just want to see a good fight.
Yeah,
it's just the promoter that's holding this up.
Yeah, and you know what, Money? I mean, remember, to go all the way back, this is what happened with I'm forgetting the champion's name because it wasn't Jim Jeffries, because Jack Johnson, he fought against Jim Jeffries, and the other champion, I'm gonna have to look it up. I'll give you guys a name. Before he fought that champion, there was another champion that he had fought before Jim Jeffries came out of, retirement from the old Alfalfa farm. There was another champion that said he's not going to give a black fighter an opportunity to fight for the title. And when he first said that, people, they were basically rooting for him and they had no problem with it. Nobody was putting pressure on him to fight against Jack Johnson. But Jack Johnson, he kept following the champion. He kept going to wherever he was fighting. He kept talking about him, mocking him. He kept knocking everyone out. And then eventually, even the racist media and the racist fans, they were like, you're going to have to fight this guy. You don't really have any more excuses. Because that's what was his excuse. He's like, okay, if I fight him, I want, $30,000, dollars or whatever, which was equivalent today to, Keith Thurman saying he wants $10 million to fight Errol Spence, basically, right? And, and then some promoter actually put the money up. And he said, well, here you go. Here's the money you wanted to fight Jack Johnson. And that wasn't enough because then Jack Johnson, the champion, then he said, well, you know what? Okay, well, forget it. I want more. I want 10% of Jack Johnson's salaries for the rest of his career. Talk about severance pay. Talk about severance pay. You know what I mean? And he got that severance pay because he went in there and he got knocked out by Jack Johnson. And he got paid for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? A disability check, if you will, from Jack Johnson. You know what I mean? So that's the story on that, man. So, but anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and
ridiculous, man.
Yeah, ridiculous, man. Let's go ahead and go back to the phone lines. Let me here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me see here. Yeah, man. Hey, my man, Money. Good looking out, man. But y'all already know Money.
Hey, no problem, man.
Y'all already know Money is a part of the team, man. He just showed love in the super chat section. Money, while he's doing the show, he said Alexander Povetkin versus David Price was fight of the night and a KO candidate of the year. Another one. Let me introduce another lieutenant in that super chat section. His name is I Am Here. What is that? I'm in here. There it goes. He said Bomb Squad. Okay, so that's what that is. So before we take another call, we're gonna take another call. But since you just mentioned that in the comment section, Money, and I appreciate it. Like I said, as always, family. I want you to go ahead and talk about that Povetkin. Just reiterate on it. Talk about that Povetkin versus David Price fight, and why, and what you think would happen if Alexander would get in there with Anthony Joshua after what you've seen this weekend.
Okay. Roughly, it was a pretty good fight for anyone that actually watched it. Both guys had their moments, and as a matter of fact, in the third round, both guys exploded on each other. Let's see, Price went down. He hit the canvas from a solid left hand, but also at the same time, not long afterwards, towards the end of the round, here comes, Price landing a left hook on Povetkin. And it sent him more than halfway across the ring, right into the corner, and he got an 8 count. Because if it had not been for the ropes, he would have went down. Still very good, exciting fight, but all of a sudden in the 5th round, out of nowhere, Povetkin dips down, comes up over the top with this solid right hand. It just grazed off the side of Price's head. Price came to the position of attention. Looked like he was stunned in a daze. Povetkin realized what was going on, and he just landed a left hand on him, and poor man, he just went down like a big tall tree, timber. But Price did have his moments. But that Povetkin right there was throwing a lot of punches. He was effective in what he was doing. And I'm telling you now, if Anthony Joshua falls short on this guy, he will be on the canvas. He cannot play with Povetkin. That version of what I saw can give Anthony Joshua problems.
Especially if he can make it to the later rounds. Because once again, carrying that muscle for 12 rounds, it's pretty hard to do when you're forced to let your hands go for 12 whole rounds, which eventually Anthony is going to have an opponent like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what that is. Guys, we're gonna wind down. It's gonna be a shorter show today. Once again, let us get back to our happy Easter / Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So yeah, let me see. Matter of fact, my mom, she got like 2 plates over there for me. So I got to go pick that up, So yeah, only us, but only in the black families do we argue over people getting too much damn meat. You know what I mean? So yeah, I remember my uncle one time. He barbecued and everything, and he was like, y'all know I only made 1 slab, so y'all can't be getting like 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. This got to go around now, So yeah,
rations.
Man. Yeah, rations. Rations. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Hey, we got another caller. We got 323. This is one of my regular call-ins. My man Reggie. What's going on, Reg?
Man, what's happening, nation, man? Loving the show, man. What's up, everybody?
All day.
Hey, what's going on now?
All day.
Oh, man. Just want to talk about the fight, man. The whole tone of Joshua yesterday, man, it was so reminiscent of the show Martin, the show he had when he was calling out Tommy Hearns. and it was so reminiscent of it that you put this protection order against Wilder not stepping in the arena. Wilder doesn't show up. This is the first time the world gets to watch this guy call out Wilder under pressure, knowing he's nowhere in sight. It was so reminiscent of that show.
Man, that's
Yeah,
that's a deep.
that's deep. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a real good one right there. Hey, Reggie.
I like that.
Go ahead.
Well, I asked Tommy, and he said he was the get-hit man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I asked Sugar, and he said you was the get-hit man.
Yeah. Martin was talking big game in there, boy. He was talking
I'm
big
telling
game
you.
up in there.
Yeah,
That's
sure was.
That's how Joshua was looking this whole thing. I think it was brilliant. I didn't like the idea of Wilder not showing up, but it turned out to be such a brilliant thing because, and like they say, stardom can happen overnight. Overnight, he's probably a bigger star than Joshua is. The road to totally reversed.
Well, I mean, but
Actually,
to turn.
but
that just might. That
But-
just might be that.
But once again, like I said, man, everything is recorded and documented. So if we look at Charles Murray, we look at Dominic Brazil, we look at all of these fighters, none of them had a big following. You know what I mean? So this is what I mean when I say everything is recorded. It's like they try to get us to talk about certain things that is a deflection. Because as Deontay Wilder said in my interview, which I'm glad, we talked about it, he said we never talked about any money. So it's like, to create that false narrative, the money got to be right. A lot of they know what they're doing when they say that, because just you saying that alone will automatically make people that's defending you say, see, it's the money. See, Wilder, he got to realize he ain't gonna get no fight, if he don't, go take 20% or whatever. I mean, at one point, Wilder even said, I'm willing to take a low percentage as long as I'm guaranteed a better percentage in a rematch. You know what I mean? So you cannot use that excuse. You cannot use that excuse.
Right. And here's the other side of the story of the whole money thing is that this is the biggest fight in boxing, period. This guy won't cross the goddamn ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And the other crazy thing that people always look at is how big these turnouts are, but nobody questions what is the gate revenue. Like I was just looking up the 90,000 occupants for the Klitschko fight. The gate revenue was $7 million. Vegas could have a Vegas gate revenue would have blew that out the water. Blew it out the water. And I can guarantee I'll make a bet on that the gate revenue for this fight here in Las Vegas will easily be $30 million. So they can the money talk Eddie Hearns is throwing everybody's head that has to be debunked because it's BS.
Hey, but Blue, just to jump off of what piggyback off of what Reggie just said, if you notice in the sport of boxing, usually every single time when they said a fight was going to be garbage, ain't nobody going to watch it. Usually those were always some of the biggest fights in the sport of boxing. You know that? You notice that? Like when it came to Mayweather McGregor, that was supposed to be a joke of a fight. That, and then all of a sudden that breaks records, right? When Mayweather fought against Maidana, they said, "Oh, that fight is a joke," right? The first fight did about like 800 to 900, close to 1 million, right? So then when Floyd Mayweather beat him, they said, "Oh, I bet you he's scared to take a rematch. Floyd don't take rematches," and et cetera, et cetera. He takes the rematch, then they change the narrative and say, "Oh man, why are you fighting him again? Don't nobody want to see that." The pay-per-view, the second fight did better numbers than the first fight. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, so many times they try to force this narrative on you because they got this personal agenda where they want the guy to fail. I mean, Andre Ward with very, very little media exposure. ESPN's Dan Rafael didn't even bother to cover the fight. He didn't even show up at the fight in his own country. He didn't even cover the fight. and Ward versus Barrera still did 1 million views, doubled what Francisco Vargas versus Salido did, which was supposed to be, the fights that they said wasn't boring, and Ward was boring. So so to go all the way back to where Reggie just said. Go ahead.
Yeah, look how they just said that Deontay Wilder don't sell. But look at the views, the viewership when he fought Stavern. Nobody wanted to see him fight Stavern, but look at the viewership.
My exact point. Going back to what Reggie just said.
And you know what that is? What that correlates to is that there's the old media has that whole system has begun to breaking down. Fans are not buying into whatever they're trying to inject into the minds of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a new world. It's a new day.
Well, you still got the decaps trying to keep it afloat.
Oh yeah, but just like he said, but they
dying breed.
Yeah, they dying. I mean, we got them roach baits. You know what I'm saying, and they dying slowly but surely right now. I mean that's pretty much what that is. What's that boric acid? You know what I mean? That's that's up in there, and they dying. They dying right now. They dying off.
We just drowned a bowl in bleach last night.
Oh my goodness, in bleach.
And last week with
drowned them in bleach.
Yeah, y'all would have. Yeah, man. And shout out once. Let me go ahead and introduce one of the lieutenants in that super chat, DBN Tank. My man, Dark Truth. He said, "Take it easy, Dante." He responded to the Thanksgiving comments. He said, "Take it easy, Dante. You leaning up. Don't ruin your gains." LOL. Yeah. No, man, that's just cheat day, man. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of extra protein, man. Man, I'll be at the gym. Honestly, to be honest with y'all, I live at the gym now, so I'm up there 2-3 times a day now. So, but yeah, man, that's pretty much what it is, man. So, hey.
And speaking of gym. Before I get off, speaking of the gym, I told you guys about the Clint Bullerall thing, about the bite, Canelo, and ass. I've been hearing, don't know how true they are. There could be false rumors about the 2-year suspension for this dude. And like I said before, that Golden Boy promotion, the days are numbered.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up, Reggie. You always bringing up some good points, man, because I just talked to somebody. I'm not going to tell you his name, but, he's a fighter. Close. He's according to him, he's been talking to Canelo's trainer. Once again, this is just talk. This is not a report, but he's telling me the fight is off. He said he's talking to Canelo's trainer, and the trainer is saying, yeah, the fight is off. We're looking for another opponent, later on this year. So, but once again, that's just talk. That's just what the rumor is right now. I mean, I can't see. This will be the first time this has ever happened where HBO, they suspend promotion programming all the way until they figure out if Canelo is going to be suspended or not, which is pushed all the way to April 18th. That's 2 weeks before the fight. HBO can't promote their biggest fight of the year, Canelo versus Golovkin. So they've never. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. And not only that, but I have a feeling that something is seriously brewing behind closed doors. I feel there's something brewing. There must be something brewing. It's just odd. And then I still don't even understand. Blue, do you understand this whole, filing a complaint against Canelo? I mean, I really don't even understand what that really means, because they say they're filing a complaint, Blue, right? But then they say we want to sit him down, or we want to interview him and ask him, get his thoughts. What do they mean by that, Blue?
Right. Yeah, it's almost like they really want to sweep it under the rug, but then in the same token, it's like they know all the facts, and it's like listen, why are you doing this? Now you just dragging me over just raking me over the coals now, because they already know what happened. They have the facts, so it's like. It's almost like they're in disbelief that he did this. He did it. The facts. It's like, listen, man. I think they felt like they were gonna get sued for having the ticket sales and all of those things, and they wanted to take their money from him. It's like they wanted to take him to court. Because I really don't understand it. And
speaking of taking,
what did he do? he ruined the fight. I mean, we know the venue and everything. You know, maybe because of the contract, he had the venue and he ruined it. You know, maybe that's the reason. But I truly don't understand it.
And a lot of people believe it's going to be a lot of lawsuits too, you know, because once again, you're messing with people's money right now, you know. So it's
that's the thing.
That's right.
Yeah, so it
This
may.
career,
Go ahead.
this might be career ending because Canelo's a guy who built his career off of perception, behavior, and many of those things. Now he's written into the books as a cheat, and they can totally. His career is built on image. This totally. I can't even think of the word, but it smears the whole reputation that they build on him as being this clean cut Mexican fighter. That crap is done.
Right now, it just put his career in such limbo, man, because he's just in a lose-lose situation from here on out. If he don't look good for the rest of his career, it's going to be, you was on steroids the entire time. And if
That's what Mariazi's saying.
Yeah, you know, and if he looks good and starts knocking people out, it's always going to be questions that is he on steroids, you know? So it's like he's in a lose-lose situation from here on out, man.
Yeah, people got to realize when you throw that meat contamination excuse out there and you live in Mexico or you always in Mexico, you know, you don't realize you admitting that you was probably eating a lot of that contaminated meat throughout your career. You know, so I mean, it's, you know, and once again, you know, Canelo has 40 plus fights. How many fights was he not tested? You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to think about that. Out of 40 fights, he probably was only tested in about 3 or 4. You know, so yeah, man,
exactly.
that's not.
And another thing with that, man, is I find real ironic is that I call it the Mexican connection, man. Then you got Marquez. You get
Francisco Vargas
Senior. Yeah, all these guys now. And then Floyd Mayweather even comes out and says, "Oh, well, they caught him now. They should just let the fight go through." Really?
Is that did Floyd say? Did Floyd say, "Well, they caught him now"? Because I seen the headline of that interview, but I haven't watched it.
He says, Floyd says, he says, well, they got him now. They already got him. So from here on out, they should just test him and just let the fight go through. Really, Floyd?
Yeah. When Floyd is the one. Floyd is the one that pioneered random drug testing in the sport. You know, so I don't really get that. I really don't get that right.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, and in the same interview, he says that you know, he's never going to get the respect for bringing that for bringing the awareness to the sport of boxing. And for wanting to be on the even playing field, but then in the same token, you saying that the fight should continue on. Why would the fight continue on?
Yeah, that's not
a good look.
Yeah,
that's not a good look.
That was the whole reason.
Yeah, and it's Marquez as well. Marquez did all that crying about Pacquiao being on the juice and Pacquiao cheating. And then he turned around and said that Triple G just need to shut up and fight. Really?
Yeah, that didn't make no sense. That didn't make no sense.
These guys
he was a strong advocate. He was a strong advocate for anti-doping and all that kind of stuff. You know, and then he says that. Yeah, it's crazy. And something else, I guess that just shows where his loyalty, you know, is at the end of the day, because Canelo, he used to criticize Canelo so much in the past for his, you know, resume and all that Canelo wanted to fight him. Canelo called him out. He said, "Okay, you talking so bad about me? Let's fight at a catch weight, Marquez." So I'm surprised, you know, he's he taking that stance right now. But yeah, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all, man. There's no way, you know, you should be condoning. You know, once again, it's like blaming. It's like blaming the rape victim. You know what I mean? You getting mad? You gonna get mad at Golovkin just because Canelo failed a test and Golovkin had something to say about it, and you telling him to shut up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes
absolutely no sense.
Zero.
No, you're
Zero.
right.
And then on top of it, though, it's the manner he says it. He should just shut up and fight. Really?
Absolutely.
That's just nasty right there.
Yep.
From Marquez.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Is that?
I mean, like these dudes.
Is that my man Kirk?
Yeah, yes, sir.
What's going on?
Hey, Kirk, what's happening?
What's going on, man?
Well, we got my man Kirk Jackson, another member of the panel. What's going on, Kirk? Hey, let me get your thoughts on real quick, man, on the whole, everybody talking about it. Joshua's performance against Parker and his infamous. I won't go so far as calling it infamous, but his very entertaining interview afterwards. Your thoughts on that whole situation, Kirk? And thanks, Reggie, for the call, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get to another one and wind down. All right, man.
Okay, once again, man, great show, great platform. Fighters continue to come on here, stop screwing your careers, especially Andrew Tabiti, all the Vegas fighters. Get on this show. Stop cheating yourselves. Peace out, man.
All right, and you know what? Andrew already said, and I'm glad you said that. Andrew, he one of my homies. He already said he's going to do the show. We just need to set it up. So I'm glad you said that. So yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Caleb Klein is the other guy I'm thinking about. Get on this show. Stop cheating yourselves.
Yeah, all day, and he was on the show before.
Thank
We're
you,
gonna get
man.
him on again. Hey, thanks, Reg. All right, man. Yeah, so
Take it easy, Reg.
Reggie always bringing the heat, man. We had Caleb's show in the studio. I'm gonna definitely get Andrew Tabiti in the studio. He want to do the show. He said he's going to do the show. He's a beast. Just in case you guys don't know, Andrew Tabiti, one of the best cruiserweights right now. He fights at the TMT gym, so we definitely gonna get him in the studio and chop it up with the champ. Yes, sir. Okay. You know what, guys? Let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, man. We're going to go and wrap this one up. Anything we missed, guys? Do we need to close out with anything?
No, man. Just this April, man. We got a string of fights happening, man.
This upcoming weekend.
Broner.
Right.
Yeah.
Broner.
Upcoming weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, Broner.
Laura
Heard and Laura.
Yep. Yeah, man. Heard and Laura. Broner, Jesse Vargas. All those fights coming up. The pressure is on.
And that Broner Jesse Vargas card is loaded.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Tank, Jamal. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
No doubt.
Yeah. And then following that, we got the Danny Jacobs card with Big Baby Miller on it.
Danny Jacobs versus Selesky and Big Baby Miller. Yeah, some good ones, man. So okay, guys. With that. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. Wait, Kirk. Did I get your thoughts on the Joseph Parker Wilder? I know I just asked you, Kirk.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I stopped talking to I let Reggie go real quick before we let it go. So yeah, your thoughts, man. Going back to that. So your thoughts on the performance and the interview afterwards. With him saying he'll either fight Tyson Fury or Wilder next?
Well, I'll start with the interview first. I thought Anthony Joshua came off as disingenuous because with what he said. When he says he wants to fight Wilder, he's down to do it. I don't believe him. He sounds like he sounds kind of corny with the whole interview process and talking about peace around the world, let's be united, and all that kind of junk. To me, that was kind of disingenuous and corny. And Eddie Hearn contradicted himself. Not only in that interview, but in various interviews aside from that, saying that he goes from saying, we've talked to Wilder's people, we're negotiating, to they've not talked to us, they brought nothing to the table, we're not negotiating, they haven't come to the table or whatnot. So that's just a whole different contradiction in itself with Eddie Hearn. To me, he's Bob Arum Jr. And in regards to the performance, I thought Joseph Parker actually did really well. And the referee pretty much prohibited him from working on the inside because whenever he tried to get on the inside, Anthony Joshua would look at the referee, and the referee would break it up and warn Joseph Parker or something. So I think the fight showed that movement and athleticism can give Anthony Joshua some issues. He doesn't have the head movement. He did what he had to do to win the fight, but I saw some weaknesses that definitely Deontay Wilder could exploit.
No doubt about it. You guys heard it from my man Kirk Jackson. He's a former fighter. He's a boxing writer on BoxingInsider.com. Check out his articles. And for my man Money Pal the Third, you guys, once again, you guys will always be hearing him on my show. Former fighter as well. And once again, check out his son's highlights. Money Pal the Fourth, one of the best prospects. Check out his knockout highlights on my channel. Just search Money Pal the Fourth, and you'll see all my videos pop up. And my man, Blue Blood Sports TV, go ahead, subscribe to his channel. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. You guys already know what it is, man. Dante's Boxing Nation. Hashtag new media. Hashtag decaf busters. Hashtag Dante's Cooking Nation. Hashtag Dante's Muscle Nation. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's the nation, baby. Yep.